From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including you could go to Kingdom of Nye Radio, Revolution Radio, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, check up on our shows, lots going on there, more to come. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company, 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR2019 today. Daniel Klaes has had a lifelong interest in the paranormal since he was a child. He was raised in a haunted house, and since then he's been surrounded by spirit activity. In 2012, he co-founded the Greater Western New York Paranormal Society, which was responsible for tackling some of the most challenging paranormal cases in the New York region. In June of 2015, Dan, I'm going to say, I think he did something silly here, but he realized a lifelong dream. The infamous Hinsdale House, a home site of mysterious paranormal insect infestation activity, historical structural exorcisms, which has been featured in different books, featured on many different television shows, became available for purchase. And what did he do? Yeah, he went to the bank. He went and bought this place. Wasting no time, made the offer. Owner said, yep, you can have this haunted house here. And the 1853 Hinsdale House is currently staged in its 1970s period dressing in order to maintain its integrity from that era, when the hauntings began. Then in the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Daniel Klaes, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Very proud to have you here.
Yeah, very excited to be here. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
We are going to get heavily into the Hinsdale House later on in the show. But I got to ask you, you grew up in a haunted house, so this is something that is very familiar to you. What was it like being surrounded by the paranormal at such a young age?
Oh, I mean, it was scary because a lot of what was happening in my house, it was like a cover-up. My parents always tried to cover up to make us feel safer. And in essence, it made me, and with my sisters as well, made us feel more creeped out. Because, we don't have answers. We don't have answers to these logical things that are happening to us. There's somebody coming into our house and pulling pranks. Who has keys to our house? All these questions were always still there until, when I later in life ended up purchasing that house and got the deed and really started digging into what happened there. So it's been a lifelong Scooby-Doo episode for me with that house,
For sure. And growing up in the field of the paranormal, did you always have that curiosity? Because a lot of people, whether they're intuitive, whether they live in a haunted house, they try and go the other way. They act very skeptical. They act like, I don't believe in that type of stuff because it scared them so much that they just want to ignore it and forget about it. Did you ever have that?
I was like that probably until in the mid-20s. A friend of mine had asked me to go to Lilydale. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lilydale, but it's a psychic community in lower southern tier of New York State. And I didn't believe in any psychics. I tried to be as skeptical as possible as I could with the house until I went and sat down with a psychic. Before I even sat down with her, she looked at me and she said, "You had 2 children spirits that live in your house. They're attached to something in the house from the original house." And I was like, holy crap. She just answered my utmost questions. She didn't even ask me my name or anything. She just basically blurted out this information and told me a whole bunch of stuff about my grandfather that nobody would know. And I was kind of like flabbergasted. So it piqued my interest to explore it more because of that experience with the psychic that I had in Lilydale. And it really got me digging into the house, trying to figure out what they were attached to, these children spirits that were in the house, that my family, my son was even experiencing things, because I ended up purchasing the house. I wanted to find out who they were and what they were attached to. And, I ended up figuring it out eventually. It was, like I said, a lifelong quest. And it's unbelievable that the things that we were looking for were basically right under our nose the whole time. Like when I was growing up, we used to walk in when nobody was at the house, and we'd do like crane drawings on our 9-foot vaulted ceiling. I'd always hear things. I'd always hear like singing, and you'd hear like footsteps, up and down the stairs, creaking. You always feel like there was something or someone behind you. I never physically saw anything with my own eyes, but I heard it. I did see a shadow in the basement when I was a kid, but again, it was always in the back of my head, like it could have been caused by something else. But now I really feel like it was one of those children, that were in that home. When I bought the house, my son started telling me that he was seeing a little child spirit, coming into his room. I was a little bit more, embracive of that as far as allowing him to not feel crazy like I did when I was a kid. And when I got the deed, I started researching the house, the previous owners, and found on microfiche at the library that there were 2 little kids that died in the house of cystic fibrosis from the original owner. Now, to find what they were attached to, that was the quest, because we had searched that place up and down, left and right, we couldn't find anything until one day I looked up, and there was an attic, and I'd never been up in the attic, and I didn't think my parents were ever up in the attic, so I never thought there was really any reason to go up there. It was one of those little like squares in the ceiling. You get a ladder, and then you have to climb up there and kind of tiptoe around so you don't fall through the ceiling. So I decided I was going to look in that attic since it was the only place that I hadn't looked at. Got the ladder out, popped that sucker open. It had a sound of like opening a tennis ball. The tennis ball can was like whoosh, like
yes,
I was just opening
yes,
up.
Absolutely.
And then I put the flashlight around up there, and I saw these boards on the back wall. And so I tiptoed through on top of the wood, hoping I didn't fall through and cause damage to the house. And when I got to those boards, I turned them around. They were actually paintings of a little boy and a little girl playing with a dog. And I was like, holy cow. This, like, I felt like I just solved the mystery. And it seems like once we got those, once we had those in our possession, we're able to acknowledge them and who they were and tell them that it was okay to move on. It seems it died down a lot, and I still have these paintings in my possession. Like, they're part of my family. It's part of my history and part of my upbringing. So it was like just a lifelong, it was my first and longest investigation that I've ever done, So, but I've learned to dig deep when I do stuff.
Well, that is making a commitment there, Daniel. Making a very big commitment.
My first haunted house purchase, boom, there it is.
Well, we're going to get more into that. Excuse me, a little bit later on in the show. I'm curious in regards to growing up in the haunted house. When did you decide that you wanted to take it to an investigative level?
Probably in my 20s. Because I had went to college, and then I had moved back. And when things started happening, my wife, she told me she saw a little girl on the stairs. I mean, I had to turn it up, and I had to start trying to figure this out more so than I did before. So, like I said, I got the deed, started researching at the library the previous names of the owners, and then I found that article, and I felt like, wow. I mean, I'm not the best researcher in the world. It took me quite some time to find that article, but when I found it, I was like, holy cow, 2 little kids died in this house. Cystic fibrosis. How crazy. And I mean, they would have died at a very young age, like in their, 10, 11, 12 years old. So they were very young. And both of them had cystic fibrosis. So they don't have a cure for that, like they do now. I mean, well, they have treatment for it where you can live with it. But back then, they had to get those tracheals, down their throat and get the mucus suction out all the time. And I can't even, it would have to have been horrible living like that.
Do you believe then that in all of the experiences that you have had since childhood, that this is a path that you were chosen to go on, or do you believe that you made your own path by learning to investigate what the paranormal actually is?
I think it's a cross of both. I mean, I do believe that the path was laid in front of me, and it was up to me to either take the path or not take the path. But you know, we all have different directions in life. But I think because I've taken the path, it's led me to where I am today. You know, it seems like a lot. Just because I bought a house that had a failed exorcism in it doesn't mean that it hasn't brought me to a different level. And I have been able to reach out to so many people and talk to so many different people in the paranormal community across the country and the world, and work with them and talk with them and just keep learning about everything. And I feel like it's just been an amazing journey so far, just because I did what I thought was right, even though it was crazy to do it. Sometimes you take big chances in life, and you do things with your heart, and things work out, you know, the way they're supposed to. So, I mean, you know, I feel like I could have gone a lot of different ways, but this feels right to me. This feels like I'm supposed to be here.
And when you feel that way, I mean, it's a path where you got to go. It's not just a curiosity anymore, is it?
Oh, it's a passion. It's a passion for sure. And I love being able to explore other places. I love being able to learn from other people. Maybe they learn something from me that I haven't picked up yet, or a different technique, or a new piece of equipment. I'm a freak about that, picking up new equipment and trying it and seeing what works, what doesn't work. You know, some things work better for other people, but I just have a passion for that, and I enjoy that so much. And being able to work with some of the best in the field, you know, it's just been a blessing to me.
I got to ask you, on a paranormal perspective here, over the last 18, 19 months, ufology has really taken over in popularity, because I think a lot more people believe out there that we could prove the existence of UFOs comparatively to what a ghost is and what's happening in the paranormal field. My question to you is, after, you know, pretty much 10, 12, 15 years of sitting on top of the paranormal tree's umbrella, being a paranormal investigator, how do you think the field is reacting right now to being a number two to the UFO field?
I think that I think the people that I've come across are just as much interested in that, if not more. I think it goes hand in hand, because it's an unknown thing. It's always been something I've been interested in. It's always been something I've looked at. You know, I've been studying that type of thing, like extraterrestrials and life on other planets. And, you know, I even had a theory 10, 15 years ago that there was life on Mars, that there was availability for life to be sustained on Mars. And I remember when I was 19 years old and I was traveling down, my buddy was at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and we were lost. And we pulled off on the side of the road, and we could just see the whole sky. And I saw this light come out of the sky that is so unexplainable to me. Like, I was like, this is crazy that I'm witnessing with my own eyes. And it had a particular, it looked like a little triangle shape, and it zipped down like no other plane could do. It didn't seem like a satellite to me. Like, my dad always would sit there and watch. He'd tell me what were satellites, what was a space station, and this traveled in a direction that I couldn't explain, and I always sat in the back of my mind. And then it kind of just zipped off into the sky, like you know, like if somebody had a laser light in their hand with a screen and just went whoosh, and boom, it was gone. I was like, did I just see what I just saw? So it's always been something that has been interesting to me, and I don't think it's bad, because I think that now that the government's actually acknowledging it as well, I think that it's going to open up a whole new book for the truth on this for everybody. So, you know, but what's wrong with having the truth? I think it's great, and I think it's been something that so many people have said in the past, and now it's like they're getting, you know, able to have positiveness with it. They're able to say, okay, this is true. Everything that we've been saying is right.
Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Dan, the reason why I ask that is because, for so long, people have been trying to keep ghosts from UFOs, from Bigfoot, and everything in between segregated, where a lot of investigators, and I'll use John Tenney's name here for a second, who you will be meeting up with this weekend. People like him now are starting to, over the years, see a tie between all of these cryptid, paranormal, ufological realms, and it's something that really a lot of people haven't studied before. Do you think that that's the next phase of paranormal investigation, or do you think we got to keep it separated until we get some more logical type answers in the fields that we're currently studying?
I don't think that it needs to be separated, only because on a personal level, and I know you want to talk about the Hinsdale House later, but I'm just going to touch on one thing here. Sure. Back in the 1970s, Clara Dandy, she wrote a book about this place called Echoes of a Haunting. She talked about UFOs in this book, seeing UFOs. She talked about these creatures that she can't explain. And they were in the backyard, they're in the woods, and she couldn't explain what they were. Fast forward, what was it, 40-some years, I have the house now. Same things have been happening. Okay, so we're looking at all that type of stuff, along with the ghostly encounters there and the things that are unexplained. We have to look at ley lines. We have to look at what type of energies are on the property, what maybe these energies are being used for ufological beings as well. Why are they showing up there? Why can we see them in the backyard of the house? Why did she see them that many years ago? And these creatures that are in the past, that to this point we've only had an explanation from one shaman saying that they're puckwudgies. We've caught pictures of them. We have I don't know what they are for sure. They look like little trolls to me. I have pictures of them on my website. I don't know for sure if that's what they are, but that's the only explanation I've had so far, because of the ties to the ancient Indians that lived there in the burial ground. So I think it goes hand in hand. I think that a lot of the energies that are associated with possibly giving energy to spirits maybe are used by the same as the UFOs, So it holds the point to look at all that stuff when you're looking at these investigations, to be able to incorporate all of them together. And I know a lot of people have. So for me, it's opened up new worlds and new realms of study for sure, just because of that.
Do you think, Daniel, as we get about 4.5 minutes before we go to break at the bottom of the hour, that the days of segregating the studies have to come to an end in order to find the answers that we're looking for? Because it doesn't matter whether you're investigating ghosts, UFOs, whether you're into Bigfoot or fairies or whatever. We have so many different opinions, but not enough proof, not enough solid evidence to write a proper conclusion. Do you think that tie together would provide more of a conclusion than what we've been doing for the last 50, 60 years?
I think so. I think working together could help. The more that we work together, the more answers we could potentially get. Segregating it isn't going to help.
Do you think that's why we haven't got any answers so far? Because if you look in the paranormal realm, alone, we have people who are trying to solve life after death. We have people who are trying to solve interdimensional type work. We have people who just want to know if a place is haunted or not. And we got the thrill seekers. There's a right. ton of different genres in between, but there is nobody really going for any solution. And the funny part about it is, this is why I don't bring on a lot of ghost people here, is when you ask them simple questions, what do you do with your evidence? It's amazing how many people cannot answer that question.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a difference with that as well. I do catalog my stuff, and I want the teams that come into the house I've had them actually been keeping records of what they've caught, where they've caught it, what the hot spots were. I have 4 years worth of records that I want to be able to people to use when they come there. I don't want it to just be, oh, we caught this picture, or I caught that picture, and I'm going to post it on my Facebook page for 40 people to see, and that's the end of that investigation. I want everybody to be able to see that picture. I want everybody to know where the picture was caught, and I want everybody to be able to utilize the information that we got prior to other teams coming there. Just because power is knowledge, and if you go in blinded, it's going to just hold you back. Are we going to get a picture? Or are we going to maybe get a different name that is a puzzle piece to the history that we can plug in to try to get more answers? So it's important to me, and I think there's a group called ParanormalWarehouse.com. They're working on a paranormal database, and I think that's going to be pretty awesome if the teams buy into it. Everybody's got to work together. Nobody is more important than anybody else in this field, and working together is going to get us farther than just holding back. So it's important to me.
A lot of people have talked about having that rule book, as we got about 90 seconds, or some sort of guideline in order to bring the field together. A lot of people will also say that they do not believe that it'll ever happen. Where do you stand on that? Is it time for a rule book, or is it time to just let people do the way they have been doing, and whatever happens, happens?
I think you can throw the rule book out there, but it's going to take respectability for everybody to be involved with it. You have to be respected there has to be a level of respect in the field, and it's hard with some of the TV shows that are out there. It kind of mocks what we do in a way sometimes, but you have to be able to gain that respect with everybody, and having somebody out there that'll take the lead on it that has respect, I think we'll be able to do it. Maybe like a John Tenney or somebody like that has a ton of respect in the field, stepping up and putting something like that together. I think could work. So it's just going to take a little nudge here, but I think we can do it.
Well, we'll have to see. And I think that some of the big wigs and the big names, led by people like Tenney and David Weatherly, who will be our guest in just a couple of nights' time, I think if they started getting together and started saying, hey, enough is enough, let's try and start the cleanup process on this, I think it may work. I really do think it may work. You're not going to get everybody, but if you could get a big chunk of them, that's all that matters. Get that big chunk of people coming together. Maybe we could get some new answers. Daniel, I'm going to get you to hold on. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. The Hinsdale House. How haunted is it? We're going to get a breakdown in the history with Daniel right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Reminder to all of you, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel. It is free, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking about the haunted Hinsdale House, his most recent purchase just a couple of years ago, because, you know, if you got some spare change running around, lying around, in the ashtray of the car, wherever it may be, you go and spend that on a haunted house. Daniel, what were you thinking?
I don't know. I really don't know what I was thinking, and I'll tell you what, I second-guessed myself so many times. I had just purchased a new house for my family. I had thought about putting a bid in fire, you know, when it was going into foreclosure, but so much time had gone by. The owner had passed away, and I had to wait for the house to be settled to the son. And he had already started ripping the ductwork out, and the electrical was all gone, and the house was going to be torn down. I mean, I had to buy it basically as a shell. But I had so much personal experiences in this house. I did not want to see it gone. Like, if so many of these wonderful locations get torn down, that may be able to be investigated. And I remember having to go to my wife and say, honey, you know, how about us purchasing income property down in the southern tier? And it really wasn't an income property. It's on a suckage of money since I bought it, but kind of told her how I felt about it and what the vision was, and she had basically let us use what we had to put down a down payment on it and move forward with purchasing the house. It's been a crazy run since I've had it. I remember before going to the bank to sign the paperwork, going there, standing in front of it. Grass was 4 foot tall. There was honeybees coming out of work. The roof needed to be redone. Doors were just wide open, and you can walk in, and there's black mold. I mean, there was just so much. I'm thinking to myself, what in the heck am I doing? But something pushed me to do it. Something in my mind said that this is important. The history of this place is important. The stories of this place aren't told. And I needed to be able to investigate it more in my mind, because it was just calling to me to do. And I went and signed that paperwork, and I've been working on fixing it up ever since. You know, there's been a lot of great people in the paranormal world that have stepped in to help out. People that have stepped in as far as labor, as far as, you know, just every little aspect to try to help out with the location. And it's been amazing. The paranormal community, you know, you hear paradrama, para this, para that, but I've seen the love from people out there helping out with the place and helping me with the vision for the location. So, you know, we've got it to a good place right now. And it's been, like last year, we had teams from 5 different countries there investigating. So it's amazing what we've accomplished so far in such a short little time to get it back to looking like a well-maintained farmhouse. So it's crazy. It is. I think about it all the time. Like, why did I do this? Why did it? You know? But it seems right now, because of the way things have gone. It seems like I was supposed to do that. I was put in this place for a reason. I was probably the only crazy person on this world that would have done it. And the house found me, and I did it. And it's still there, and it's still talking to people. So,
Interesting, yeah. because I mean, you could hear the passion in your voice. You could hear the emotion that if it wasn't you, we would have lost that haunted history forever. Is that kind of the way you look at it, is the haunted history?
Yes, the haunted history. It was something that needs to be preserved. You know, just like any type of history. This is something that dates back prior to the Exorcist movie coming out. And an exorcism was performed there. You know, probably one of the first ones that's been documented in the country. And it was a newspaper, and this family was tormented. And And for that to just get thrown out the door without having its story told, and the story's evolving, because now my goal is to find out what's making it tick, why is it happening, and trying to get answers, and it's been a ride with the history, and it's been like the puzzle just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But it's definitely my passion for sure. But it's also something I have to do from afar. You can't get overtaken by this place. I can't go there a lot, even though I want to. I know that I can't, and it's something that I know that can possibly overtake my thinking process. So I have to be able to draw a straight line. I've assembled teams of people that help out, so it's not one person helping out or two people helping out. It's teams, multiple teams of people that I trust that have keys to the location, and we all spread out our duties because I don't think anybody should be there that long. I don't think anybody should be at the location for numerous days on end, and just because it gets overbearing at times.
All right, let's start to get into the history of it. Tell us the history of this house. What makes it so eerie? So
this house was originally 100 acres. Was set on 100 acres with a barn. In 1969, it was purchased. The whole 100 acres was purchased, and it was sublet out into 10-acre plots. The person that bought it tore down the barn, and on each 10 acres, they dug ponds. All of a sudden, things started happening when this pond was built. This is around the time that Ed and Lorraine Warren came down to the house. And something was happening there, and I feel like there was some type of cover-up that went on because they allowed this Sandy family to move in there in 1970. From the time that they got in there, things started happening. They started seeing creatures. Things would happen. The gas would be turned on the stove. Things would be levitating, thrown off shelves. I mean, poltergeist-like activity happening all the time, and it was affecting our young daughter Laura the most out of everybody. The son also, it was to the point where they had to seek help. They didn't know what to do. Saying a prayer or what they were thought to have raised in their Catholic upbringing to do wasn't working. So they had reached out to a priest at St. Bonaventure University, which is a local college out this way. And they got in contact with this priest. His name was Father Alphonsus Prevost. He studied the occult. He studied this type of stuff. And, with numerous letters going back and forth, he decided he would come out to the house and perform a mass to try to help them. He performed a mass in the kitchen with the whole family there. Whatever was there died down. It died down for a little while, but then it came back full force again. To the point where it was hard to live there, and then she's been keeping contact with the priest for this whole time, and finally he had approval to do a structural exorcism of the location. He brought a film crew in from New York City and came to the house and performed this exorcism in the living room. They said the house shook and screamed at a microphone on the outside of the house when they were doing this. Again, it didn't work, and then in the correspondence back and forth from the wife to the priest, his final advice was to believe there's nothing else that he knows that he can do to try to help them. And then they held it up to California, and it's sad because and I don't know the daughter Laura. She ended up committing suicide. Her son ended up getting killed in a car wreck, and there's so many things that have happened when people came down that road, cars stalling out, and this still happens to this day. When they come down that road, it's just this house in the middle of the hill, down a dirt road, and in the middle of nowhere. Really, it's in the middle. You think of other locations where people go to investigate. There's so much that can debunk some of the things that you're getting, but this house has nothing nearby. The closest neighbor is probably 5 or 6 football fields away. I mean, it's pretty far. So you're talking about this little country house in the middle of nowhere. They would see beings in the house. They would see, like I said before, she had said she'd seen aliens on the outside of the house in the backyard. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the story that's in the paper. The stories that made it famous back in the 1970s. The families that moved in and out of there throughout the years, up until about 1983. So one of the families I interviewed only lived there for a month. Because whatever was there was affecting them to the point where they didn't want what was ever there to know they were leaving. They just left their stuff in the house. Completely left their stuff in the house. They didn't take anything with them. The landlords had to come and remove their stuff from the house, and again, it just kept getting rented out like a land lease type of thing. It had never been owned since 1969 until I bought it.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah. That house was the house that kept on giving up until 1983, but then it just wasn't upkept. Nobody was upkeeping it because it was a land lease. It was a lease. So at least that was the hardest thing, was trying to get the history on who lived there. But once Paranormal Lockdown came in there, people were coming out of the woodwork. People were saying, "I live there." We were able to get more information until I got the deed.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to be a part of that fame too, right?
I guess, but some of the people did actually live there, which was interesting. In
a house like that is so active, and I've asked Andrea Perrin this same question, and Karen Smurl this same question as well. Why do you think this location is so eerily haunted comparatively to the land or the homes around it, or pretty much almost everywhere else?
I mean, what do I think as far as why it is the way it is?
Why this place? Why this place? Why not? Why so much here? What is causing the hatred, the anger, the anxiety, and everything there?
I don't know that answer yet. I really don't know. I have theories, why I think there might be some type of negative there. I'm hoping to find out. I have theories that when these ponds were dug, that possibly something was covered up. I also believe that there could be a family burial plot that was there from the previous resident that was possibly dug up or moved, or just the earth from the pond that was dug there, the barn originally was plopped on front of it. We've also found, and I don't want to blame any specific thing, I don't know for sure, because when we were digging in the back to put a new septic system in, we found arrowheads. There's definitely ties to Indian, dating back to the 1700s. I've looked at Indian tribes all the way to the Renway, and it's a possibility that we could be on top of some type of ancient ground that we shouldn't have built a house on top of, and the house could just be the freak of nature that it was just put in a wrong spot. That would also make true for the fact that there's sightings of Ufology. If there is some type of ancient burial ground close by, or protected by Indians, I mean, that could be something as well. But I think what's in the house is different than what's on the outside of the house. I just think that the energy on the land itself is high. I think that that's maybe why they're seeing all these things, as far as UFOs, cryptids, and ghosts. I mean, they're seeing them on the outside of the house, the inside of the house.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, on the inside of the house, it's not bad all the time. It's not like there's this demonic spirit that's just terrorizing people when they come there. A lot of people have good experiences there and have actually been able to give me positive feedback as far as information that may be connected to the house, which is really good. But definitely a darker, heavy spirit there. Something that you can feel the heaviness just come over the whole house when it comes around. And it's very important for me that when people go there that they know this, because it's affected a few people at its time in the 4 years that I've owned it. And if you're not on your feet and you're not grounded and you're not a positive note, it could affect you when you're going there. I don't want anybody there being negative at any point, because whatever there could definitely feed off of it. I don't know what it is at this point, and it's something that I want to find out, definitely, why it's there and why it has such power over this house. A lot of areas, Daniel, when they look into investigations like this, because I know the parents believed that they had some sort of portal activity going on. Do you believe that's happening there as well? There's a room in this house in the upstairs. We call it Mary's room. That they blocked off in the 1970s. They didn't want anybody in there because of the activity that was happening in there. So that's definitely a big possibility. When we started investigating there, so many psychics are drawn to that room and feel there's a portal in that room. They've tried to close it and it's not worked. I think that we're going to need a whole bunch of spiritual warfare at this place if we're ever going to turn it for the good. But this room, if anybody has seen Paranormal Lockdown with the Hinsdale House on it, this is a room where all the bugs are drawn to, the flies that were in the window in the show. But this is also the room that I had to excavate 500,000 honeybees out of the floorboard. I mean, this room had bees in it since the 1970s. She talked about bees in her book, and they've never gone away. They've always been there. And this is one of the biggest colonies of bees I've ever seen in my life. I was thankful that I was able to find a beekeeper to come out and get them. I did not want to kill them. It was a little bit more costly, but, we did end up having them removed. We had to rip up the floorboards and scrape out all the honeycomb. But this is the room that it seems like a different energy. And it's not even a room that I actually feel comfortable staying in for too long, because it feels different in there. To me, I feel like more electricity in there. I guess I get goosebumps in my arm going in that room, just sitting in there, and it just doesn't feel good to me for some reason. I've slept in every room in that house except for that room. So I think there definitely could be something there, perhaps.
Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 5 minutes left until we got to go to break at the top of the hour. In regards to the activity at the home, I don't think I recalled you saying, how old is this house? When was it built?
The house was built in 1853. We had just learned this history out most recently, because I had only had it to 1891. And then it's cool. Like now I talk about everybody working together. I had a team in, and there was a researcher there from Pennsylvania, and she actually looked at the work that I had and noticed I had made an error in spelling, and was able to correct my terminology on the report I did, and allowed me to actually find the date that it was actually built in 1853. Funny story that we can talk about after the break, but there's a lot of folklore with this house as well. A lot of folklore stories that I can't prove. I don't know if they're correct, but when I got that history for the house and found out that the date was 1853 and that there were two brothers that actually built this house, it just kind of opened up a whole kind of world of thinking for me because of the folklore with that house. It's crazy to me. It really is.
So with that house being where it is in the New York area, I believe, I go back in history, okay, Canada, being Canadian, Canada was really struggling to become a nation on its own, through the British monarchy in that mid-1800s up until our independence in 1867. And I guess what I'm asking here is, there was a lot of tension between British North America in Canada and the United States and the colonies and so on and so forth. And it was land that the Americans wanted, that the British wanted to keep. Did you ever look into the history of this home in regards to the battles between Canada and the United States and the tensions that were arisen there?
I've started to, and it's crazy. When I had to stabilize the foundation and put new beams in, stabilization beams into the house, I took out some of that 200-year-old wood, and I was trying to preserve what I could with it because I wanted to give it to Jeff Fent, who's a woodworker in Columbus, Ohio, that builds spirit boxes with wood. And he had drawn come out to the house and got the wood, and then when he got home, started cleaning it up and cutting it, we found bullets, old bullets, and this wood that was used to build the house. I mean, these could have been harvested locally. These trees could have been harvested locally and then built this house. And we were finding, I would have never found that had I just dumped the wood and trashed it. And it's something that I'm looking at now. I'm looking at, geez, I never even really thought about that. What the possibilities could, I'm looking at the land, the town of Hinsdale, the people that live there, the war between the Indians and the locals. But I wasn't looking at that, and it's a huge possibility. Definitely something to look into for sure.
I would be very intrigued with that because, with everybody being able to look at each other from side versus side over Niagara Falls and so on and so forth, it was a very rough, tough time back then. And in order to try and figure out, as we got about 60 seconds here, I guess the fun part for you with the Hinsdale House is in order to try and figure out its future, you really have to become a student of its past.
Correct. Absolutely, and we're going to be doing a lot of awesome things there that I'm working with some of the colleges. I'm working with some really big-name investigators, that we're going to be documenting some of the things that we're doing and try to see if we can uncover additional information on the house as well to see what's making it tick, as far as, using ground penetration, maybe digging up some of the stuff. Possibilities are there. I want to find out what's making it tick. I need to know. I mean, I didn't get into this for just to have a haunted tour house show. I mean, I want to know the answers here. So, I'm all in on this at this point. So,
I don't blame you. Daniel, you hold on, get comfortable for a little bit here because we're going to go to break at the top of the hour. Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight. We are talking about the haunted Hinsdale House that he owns. Goes back 160 years plus. HauntedHinsdaleHouse.com is the website. If you want to book a tour, meet up down there, check it on out. More Spaced Out Radio right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. We want to give a shout-out to our terrestrial affiliates, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and we're on in Ridgecrest, California on 93.7 FM KZFX. On the digital side, we say hello to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Jigamarie. Jigamarie is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated every single day. Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking about the Hinsdale House. This is one haunted house that he decided to buy in 2015 after a lifetime of paranormal experiences. Why not buy a haunted house to go with the flow? Everybody's doing it these days. Hey, you got to admit, Daniel, that the amount of people who are buying haunted houses these days is pretty incredible.
Yes, this is. But I think you have to do it for the right reasons. I mean, if you're looking to buy a haunted house and use it to subsidize your retirement, I think it's an awfully bad decision. The reason I got this place is to preserve the history and to try to figure it out. So it's not it's been a succubus of money. I probably put more into it than what the place cost for 4 years already. Just trying to make it, to a point where people can stay there and enjoy the place when they're there. You just learn. You keep learning as you go, and it's such a passion for me. Like I want the paranormal investigator guy in me wants to make this place the best location that it can be for teams that come in to experience the paranormal there. And it's like unheard of. Most of the people like to leave it dingy and creepy with the black mold. I'm here fixing it all up so we can preserve this history. And
right.
It's it has the story. It has the story. It has the history, and that's it. I mean, that's what needed to be preserved. It didn't need to be knocked down, so that's the reason for buying it. I mean, you think about it, if any place could be haunted, anything could be haunted. So it's like, you're gonna save that to preserve a family legacy, or are you gonna save? I mean, this is a negative haunting, failed exorcism, tormented families, poltergeist like activity. This is the real deal. This is something that tormented a family in the 1970s. And, you know, it's stories like this that need to be preserved. And I want to do right. You know, Claire is still alive. She lives in Oregon. You know, I just went and met with her for the first time a few weeks ago and got to sit down with her and talk with her, see her tears still to this day, and just really listen from her mouth, you know, what happened. And her story has to be told. You know, you know, it's her story. It's what happened to her family. Her daughter wouldn't even talk to me. She would say hi. But her husband said, you know, she has nightmares to this day about that place. You know, so
right.
it took me 4 years to gain her confidence to even allow me to come visit her to talk to her.
Incredible.
You know, yeah.
I think we forget about the human side of everything, too, because we get so enamored in the romanticism, or the, as we like to say around here, the woo-manticism of the hauntings that go on. But when you talk to the real experiencers of it all, whether it's Clara in this situation, whether it's the Smurl family, whether it's the Perrin family, there is real people involved with real feelings here. And I think as people involved in the paranormal, we forget about that at times because we're so interested in the stories rather than the human aspect of how people have been affected psychologically.
Yeah, and I want that story to be told correctly. I don't want, it's her story, you know, I don't want people coming into the house and putting and throwing out things that aren't true. You know, and for the most part, I try to respect their names. The family that was there, you know, they lived it. You know, they lived through it. But I'm not going to taunt what's there because of that. You know, like it's a respect thing, and I respect her and I respect what happened to them. You know, she's lost 2 of her kids. You know what? You know, it's sad. It's so sad. You know, and she feels like this house had something to do with it. So, you know, she told me at the end of the conversation that she wishes that the place would just burn down. But she doesn't. She's so torn. You know, it just to be able to see it in her face, though, it just put like new perspective into my life to be able to continue with what I'm doing. But if I can give her answers, if I can give her something more than she's had since she's moved away from there, maybe I can just help her a little bit. Maybe we'll be able to help her a little bit, you know?
Well, we can only hope. We can only hope.
Yeah.
In hour 2 here, we'd like to get to some audience questions in the chat rooms. We've got a pair of questions from Jade in the SOR Space Travelers on Facebook. She is asking, if the ground is sacred native land, then you need to get in contact with a native medicine man or woman to help with this. Have you done this so far?
I have. I've had shaman out to the property. We've done a couple of different, he's come out twice now, and done a couple of drum circles, and he's actually helped to try to make it a more positive experience with the native spirits that are there, the native entities that are there. We want to respect them, and we want to respect their heritage and respect anything and anything that may be there. And actually, we've actually started a tradition up at the house for teams. If anybody comes up there, they've known about it. But behind the house, up on the hill, we've started a giving tree. So it's geared towards Native Americans. We hang feathers from there, beads. People bring mementos as offerings to the native spirits when they go there. And it's become quite a spectacle up in the forest behind the house. It looks pretty amazing that so many people have made offerings to the native entities on the property to help our worlds combine, maybe give us some answers that we're going in peace together, trying to figure this out. You know, I do not want to have them negatively impacted, nor do I want to say that it's the Indians that are the Indian entities that are making all this negative stuff happen there. They could be trying to help the land and the property. You know, there's so many different, like I said, there's so many different layers to this property, but definitely I've explored that aspect of it as well, you know, of having the native spirits we have pictures of a native. It looks like an Indian chief in a full headdress, and we also have a picture that looks like a native girl out by the pond, like a Native American female. So I believe that there's definitely ties there, and again, just a layer, trying to figure it out. So, but definitely exploring that aspect of it. I want to do that more. I'd like to get some of the local tribes involved. Because the shaman that I had there is from St. Louis, and he's come out twice to help. But again, it's they do the natives do their stuff. They don't like to involve us. But I'm hoping we can come to some type of agreement, even if I'm not there, that they can come out and maybe check the property out and see if there's anything they can do there as well.
Michelle on Twitter is asking, how do animals react in the home?
There's different reactions. So there's a dog that lived there with one of the families back in the late 1970s. So they were there for a few months now. That was a German Shepherd, and you know how loyal a German Shepherd is. They just stand right next to you and walk with you, and this is how she described her dog. Yeah, so just a very loyal dog. So this dog one day was sitting on the chair. Then all of a sudden the truck was coming down the road. Dog ran out in front of the truck. Very unlikely that happened naturally. A German Shepherd smart enough not to go run in front of a truck. Passed away. Clara Dandy actually had a pet raccoon, and we've caught pictures of a spirit animal in this house. We have dogs. It looks like a video of a groundhog popping up. It's pretty crazy to think about. Now, I've let people bring in their paranormal pooches and paranormal dogs, and one dog wouldn't even go inside of the house. He had to stay in the car because he wouldn't go in the house. So, I mean, there's definitely seems like they're picking something up there. I've had other dogs come in that wouldn't go into certain rooms, or only stay on the bottom floor, wouldn't go upstairs. So, I mean, that's something I would wholeheartedly allow. I mean, if somebody has a dog that they're trained in the paranormal or is used to coming, bring it along to see what the reactions are, because we've had a mix of reactions when people bring their animals there.
No kidding, eh? No kidding.
Yeah.
Do people just bring dogs? Are they bringing cats? Are they bringing other animals as well?
I've never had anybody bring any other animal besides a dog so far.
Okay.
We've had cat. No, I'm gonna. There was 2 cats or 2 kittens that we found on the property that were brought into the house, but they didn't seem to be. They were only there for a short time, and we let them stay in the house till they were adopted. But they basically stayed in the living room on the couch the whole time they were there. Right. I don't know that they went exploring anywhere else, but
right. All right, let's move on to another question here. This one comes from Tripp, who is asking, Daniel, have you thought about allowing some of the major investigation teams to hold meetings there to come to an agreement in how investigations should be conducted by everyone? Can't ask for a better place for evidence to be collected and tested to help the paranormal field to actually and finally be able to be accepted by science.
While I wouldn't be against it, it's not a large location. It's only 1,100 square foot farmhouse. One thing that I do allow, though, is if, say, a paranormal team gets in contact with me, I have so many of the local teams will get in contact with me that you want to test out a theory, or maybe need a little bit extra time, or maybe you want to test out a new piece of equipment that they're inventing. I just give them the keys and allow them to go up there and utilize the location. Again, it's not a money grab for me. I want to see the field pushed farther, and I feel like putting restrictions on good investigators is not a good thing. So it's something that I've always said. Like if there's a great investigator out there, I want them at this house. I don't care if they can't afford it. I'll even pay for your gas if you want to come out. The money that I intake when people come just helps me to upkeep the location. Like have the grass cut and paint the wood and get the bathroom in a better state and just keep it maintained. So it's I try to keep it as fair as possible as far as that goes. But I would never deny anybody to come up because they couldn't afford it. Let's put it that way. And I would love to have anybody that wants to have a meeting there do it. Maybe a gathering on the outside or something like that would be better. But not, like I said, it's not a big space. But I'm not against anybody going there for research or for the better cause of the paranormal community. That's for sure.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, the only way you're going to get solutions is by people investigating.
Exactly. And I want people there. It's why I go around the country and talk about it and let people know what's about the location, so I can get the best of the best to come. Because if you're as passionate about it as I am, being in California is not going to matter. You're going to get there. Like I said, teams from 5 different countries there last year. So if you're coming all the way from England to investigate the Hinsdale House, then you have definitely a lot of passion, for sure, for the paranormal field. Australia, even. It's crazy. But I love it. I love meeting them. I love meeting the teams from these other countries, what they have to bring to the table. It's just great. It's awesome. And, of course, Canada. Canada. We have a ton of teams from Canada that come up as well.
Well, are we really a country here, considering we're like brothers? We're just the nosy, annoying neighbor to the north. That's all we are. But
yeah, with the superior hockey teams.
Well, we just send all the good players down. That's why a Stanley Cup hasn't been won in Canada since 1993. But who's counting? Who's really counting?
No, yeah,
so
exactly.
We blame the Montreal Canadiens for that and the curse of leaving the Forum.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different
one. Let's just blame the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, exactly. It's just easier that way. I want to ask you about the failed exorcisms, as we got about 5 minutes to go here before we go to break. And if we have to continue this after the break, we totally can. Tell us about what happened there. Yeah,
so this family, they were just getting tormented, okay? So they had the last straw. The kids were in the living room, sitting on the living room floor, and there was a statue of Mary sitting on the cabinet against the wall. This statue, basically from what I'm understood, came flying off the top shelf and almost hit one of the children. Things were levitating in the house, and there was an ashtray that got flung across the wall. In the bedroom and the downstairs, things were getting thrown off the shelf, and it was just becoming a danger for the family to keep living there. For them to have to keep putting up with this because you weren't sure if something was going to come whipping at you. So this priest finally got the okay from Vatican to perform this structural exorcism of the location. He called in a psychic, Alex Tanis, came there. He also called in, he wanted to document what was happening. So he brought this film crew from New York City. Came in, did a blessing of the location, and then came into the house. There were guards basically out in the road, making sure that nobody came into the location, and started performing the structural exorcism in the living room. The house was not happy. The location was not happy that this was happening. They said that the house shook, and we've actually experienced it before, where it felt like an earthquake, but there was nothing happening. And I don't know if it's like a residual type of thing or what, but they said they had put a microphone out of the window of the living room, and this house was screaming. And it's funny because I keep saying the house this, the house that. Like the house is its own entity, like the house is its own energy. And it's crazy because we've started looking into that as well. Is the house just giving you what you want when you come here? Is it answering the questions that you're asking to make you want to come back? It's funny because once they performed this exorcism, it died down. It didn't work. Blair reached back out to the priest for more help, and there was really nothing he could do. And they had to basically give up their home. It was their dream home. This is what she wanted and for her life, and they had to basically start off from scratch again. And they moved out to San Jose, and then she settled in Florence, Oregon. So
can't blame her.
No, it's a beautiful location. I loved it out there. But they still have nightmares. They're still having nightmares about it. She follows the house to this day. If I say anything wrong, if there's like a live feed, if there's if I say the wrong thing, she reaches out to me and says, "Can you correct this, or can you say this?" It's like, "Yes, Mom." I want to do it. I'm glad she does that. I don't want to mistell her story. Like I said, it's her story, and it deserves to have an ending to it. Because there's no ending at this point.
Right. What do you think is there?
Is it a demon? My theory, I don't think so. Do I think that possibly in the 1970s, or what was a negative entity could be determined to be a demon? Perhaps. But whatever it is, it's oppressive. It can get into your mind. It does say negative things. It swears. It makes you feel like you're a piece of crap. And whatever positive interaction you were having up to that point is gone. Any energies that were there, any spirits that we may have interacted with, it seems like they just go away. And to me, it feels like whatever the suppressing energy is there, kind of just takes over. Tries to take over the location, and I always tell folks when they're there to not engage with it. If it starts happening, to maybe step to the outside of the house, wait a while before going back in, because it can, like I said, it's affected people. It's affected people to the point where we've had to have another exorcism in the house, where we've had to have people step away from the house for months. People that I've had helping me there had to step away for months because it got into their mind so much. To the point where he didn't even know who he was. He was going up to the house so much, and I had to learn from that. I had to learn to not let people go up so often. It can overtake your thought process. So whatever's there is definitely. I just don't want to say demonic, because I've been involved with a demonic case in my day,
right.
A few of them. And it's nothing like what I experienced during those cases.
Daniel, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Daniel Klaes, the haunted Hinsdale House. More coming up after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com. A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club, For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Reminder to all of you that if you want to listen to this show or others, you could always check out our free YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight we are talking with Daniel Klaes. He is the owner of the Hinsdale House, a very haunted location in Upper New York that is attracting a lot of attention for its history, for its ghosts, for the exorcisms, the poltergeist. Daniel, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Man, I can't believe it's been an hour and a half already. This is show goes by quick.
Flying. It is flying by. I got a question from the Revolution Radio chat room for you from Gyro, who is asking, Daniel, do you think that moving those 200-year-old pieces of wood from the home might have spread the dark spirits?
Well, as far as that goes, I did have anything that I have that leaves the house. We do have it blessed, and I mean, according to what I believe, I certainly hope not. And from speaking to Jeff, he hasn't had any issues from removing those. A lot of the times, like what I believe is when you take something away, you put something in place of it, and hopefully that keeps it at par. So it hasn't led to anything, and Jeff hasn't reported anything negative happening to him from having the wood. So knock on wood that's the case.
Right on, right on.
The theory is I actually am going to have a couple of spirit boxes that are made out of wood from the Hinsdale House that I want to experiment with and see if the wood can speak, if maybe there's energies within those wood that will open up by using that as a case. So it's going to be interesting when we get those running and finished to experiment with those. And we're going to have those back in the house for teams to use as well when they come in. So it should be pretty cool and interesting to see.
I got to ask you, in regards to the fact that you do not believe there are demons in the house, yet for all the strange and violent and horrific type of activity that has been noted with the Hinsdale House over the decades, why would you claim that it's not a demon and rather just an angry spirit?
I guess I can't claim anything. I don't know for sure. I just know what I know. I know what I've dealt with in the past with exorcism before, in 2 different cases that I've done with. And this doesn't seem the same to me. It doesn't seem like it's trying to overtake anybody. It doesn't seem like it's trying to... It just seems very oppressive, It's funny because, and again, I don't know for sure. I guess it's just my thoughts and my theories. People say demon all the time. It's everything's been demonized. So I just don't want to give it that name. If try to figure out what it is, and then maybe give it a name. But it's a darker, suppressing energy that's there. So I just don't like to put names on it, A demon is a very Christian thought process. So, I mean,
true.
Could be, perhaps, but that's just not my style. So it's follow what you will, I guess. We don't really know.
Cog is asking in the Spreaker chat room if the property had ever been doused, or is there an underground stream system?
That's a great question. So the pond that's actually there is this spring-fed pond. So it actually has it's spring-fed, and that's actually the water that I tapped to have running water in the house as well, because we had to drill a water pump and everything well there. So yes, there's definitely a water source there, which could be a possible energy source for the entities there to give it energy.
You also mentioned poltergeist activity.
Mm-hmm.
What was happening with the poltergeist activity there, and is it still happening today?
Well, the things that were happening to the family in the 1970s, things were falling off shelves, doors were opening, stove was opening up, things like that. Things that would probably freak you out, if you were a family in the 1970s. Does it still happen today? Yes. We've had things move. I've placed items strategically in the house and come back and they're in a different location around the floor. We have video of a door opening on its own. We have video of a girl sleeping on the couch with a static camera on her and the sheets being levitated off of her. So yeah, it's still happening. We've caught shadow figures on cameras. We've caught entities there that are full-bodied apparitions, and it goes from playful. It seems playful to me. It doesn't, I don't know. Maybe I'm just immune to everything that's happening there, and I guess a normal person that has never experienced something like that would freak the crap out of them. But it definitely, what you could still say it's still happening. We have this clown, one of those old clowns because we like to try to get different trigger objects that may,
right.
And I hate to say clown, but it was just something that somebody donated to me. Because I know there's always an evil clown somewhere, right? But it's just one of those old Peter totters with bells on it, and then you'll hear those bells ringing in the house. The clown's getting played with or moved when you're sitting downstairs. It's weird. It definitely is weird. They're definitely letting you know they're there. From the moment you get there, they try to communicate with you.
Gotcha. So, do people have, slamming doors behind them? Are they being pushed? Are they being shoved? Are they being scratched? How violent is this place?
There's been a few occasions that I've marked down in the 4 years that I've owned it where people have shown me that they've been scratched. Not now, in comparison to the amount of people that have been there, I would say that it's minimal as far as the scratching goes. People being pushed or touched, that happens quite often, but not in a negative way. Not where people, they feel like it's been a violent push. So we have circumstances of that happening as well. Have we seen doors opening? Yes. The bathroom, the door to the basement always flies open. It has a latch on it. So we're taking that door, we're latching it shut so it doesn't open, and the latch is being flung off and the door is being whipped open. And I believe that the basement has something to do, is going to be able to give us some answers as well. Like I had said before, there's a lot of folklore with the location, and that basement is part of the folklore. That there could be bodies that were buried down there or held down there. A lot of interesting EVPs point to the basement. That we need to investigate that basement even more. So it's just a dirt floor. And it's got the cobblestone around it. It's just an real old basement. And I guess we will find out eventually. We will definitely find out. We get EVPs saying that it's, I'm dead, I'm buried, help, basement, find me. I hope we can. If these spirits want help, I hope we can help them.
All right. Kay is asking, and thank you, Kay, for being a first-time listener. The house is also not that far from Lilydale and Witches Hill. Do you think that could possibly amp up the property?
It's definitely something to think about. It's about an hour away from Lilydale. I'd have to look at that and see. I've reached out to many of the psychics that live there, and I have a giant list of spiritual workers that at some point I would like to bring out to the house all at once. And my goal is to bring out not just the Catholic priest, not just the psychic. I want to bring them all at the same time, and I want to see if maybe we could have everybody work together at one point and see if maybe that has any effect on the location. A shaman, a priest, a Wiccan, all the different elements that people are experiencing there all at one time. So that's hopefully in my future of getting that done as well.
That sounds interesting. That sounds really interesting.
When I do this, though, I have to have it documented. I want to be able to document what happens and have cameras there so I can have it for everybody to see.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. So
Andrew, who has an addiction to gnomes, he is asking, what's the wildest and craziest, strangest experience you have had personally at the house?
When somebody asks me that question, I always like to refer back to the kind of like the first, when I started diving into something other than the Dandy family that lived there, something other than, the exorcism. When I first bought that location and was going there to investigate, all everybody ever really talked about is failed exorcism. And finally, after going there about 4 or 5 times, I said, there had to have been people that lived here after this family. And if the Dandy family was experiencing it, they had to have experienced something. So we need to find these people. We need to talk to these people. And in my first time, really starting to research the location, I had come across the video of the Misnicks, Flo and Joe Misnick. Now, they lived there in the 1980s for a few years until they passed away. And they were an older couple, but they still had things happening to them when they were there. There were some videos out on YouTube with them. So I had gone up to the house. It was, at this point, the house was in a foreclosure process. There was no electricity, no running water. Doors were just left wide open, and all the electrical and ductwork was ripped out of it. And it was kind of like a goodbye, because we didn't know whether we were going to have this house the next day. It was getting that close to being torn down. And so we were up there, and we had permission to be up there, and we were in the kitchen. And my co-founder of the group was talking about the exorcism, and then I just asked him, so let me just try something. And I had a K2 meter in my hand, and my friend Michelle had a K2 meter in her hand. And I said, Flo, are you here? And I got this tingly sensation up my arm, and the K2 meter in my hand went off like crazy. It was just and I have this all on video. So then I remember my co-founder saying, well, who was Flo? And I said, she was an older lady that lived here in the 1980s, died here. And I continued to have what I felt was a conversation with Flo Misnick. It was a different entity, a totally different story, totally different era. And I said, with the K2 meters, they bleep on and bleep off when you ask questions, and supposedly that's a spirit trying to communicate with you. I had asked her, I said, Flo, if this is you, Flo, can you hold my hand as we go up the stairs? And this K2 meter stayed lit in my hand all the way up the stairs. Kid you not, all lit up, all the way up the stairs into the master bedroom. When I tried walking into Mary's room, the room that Portal is in, supposedly, I lost her. But from that point on, it was kind of like new game for me. It was kind of like, okay, all right, there's more. There's more than just what this family experienced. Why would Flo Misnick be here? Why would she still be in this house? She lived here in 1983. Why would she be here? So I feel like she's kind of there and still like a protector of that house. I've had, numerous occasions where I feel like I've spoken to her. And then the kicker was, the day after I went to that house and felt like I had communicated with her, I got an email from her granddaughter, Jackie, and she said, Dan, I saw that you were up at the Hinsdale House. I know I don't know you. My grandma and grandpa used to live there. And I said, well, who was that? Joe and Flo Misnick. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? It was like just out of the blue. To this day, she still comes up, Jackie, and she feels like she has a connection with her grandmother there. I've found things in the walls that have ties to the Misnick family living there. And I have items that they own that were brought back to the house. Like for some reason, like there is a connection for some reason. So that from that point on, it was my goal to try to keep the place from getting torn down. That experience for me was like the opening of a can of worms of researching that location for people that may have lived there, other experiences, and what other things may have happened there. So it was quite an amazing night for me and an eye-opener as far as the history of the house goes.
Nikki is asking, and I was going to ask this, and Nikki and I, well, she's quite psychic, so she probably read my mind with this one. Thanks, Nikki. Anyways, she is asking, have you ever checked on murders in the area where there's still no closure to the case from, say, the 1900s to the early 1960s?
Yes. So I have actually all the way up in the 1990s. I have definitely in 1964. We have a case of, not that it's unsolved, but we know that there was a murder on the property. There was also death that we have confirmed back in the 1960s. We have a little boy that was killed by a buzzsaw back behind the barn. We have a brother shooting his brother in the hills behind the house. Killed him because they had an argument over religion. So there's definitely some deaths that happen there that we can confirm. We also have folklore. We have folklore. We have not the hanging tree isn't folklore, but there's no records of the deaths of the people that were hung there. And do we know that there was a town hanging tree on the northeast corner of the property on McMahon Road? The tree was hit by lightning and fell over. We get EMF from that tree. And we also get a lot of people that think that there's entities that had died on that tree that roam the property. There's a story that the psychic that was brought in by the priest, Alex Tanis, told about this young girl that was pregnant, that was hung because she didn't have a husband and was pregnant. They said she committed adultery. And her husband was off fighting the war. And what a sad story. I mean, and this entity that we get out by the pond, a lot of people associate this entity with this story for some reason. Because she's in white, a woman in white, and she's lost, and she's looking for somebody. I don't know if that's true or not, and there's not really a way to prove if she was hung. Again, this is a story that the psychic told in the 1970s. But it's been passed on from generation to generation because of a lot of other psychics have picked up on it as well. So there's no 100% proof of it, but it's there, and it's part of the history of the location, and it adds to the maybes. If we can find something, my gosh, that would be amazing. There's a whole other piece of it. So go ahead.
Outside of the recent history, how much of the history that you have do you believe then is just legend and folklore rather than written down, scribed truth? Well,
all I can have is what I have on paper. A lot of the stuff that happened is folklore. I don't want to paint people as murderers. I don't want to paint things like that. There's a story. There's a story about these two brothers that built the house, and supposedly they were ravaging, raping, and killing people coming through on the stagecoach trail, holding their bodies in this crawl space in the basement, and then burying them out in the hills after the winter thaw. And that's a story that's been passed on from generation to generation. I had no proof of any brothers. You know, I had said that there was a story about the history of the house. I had no proof of any brothers. I didn't know when the house was built. But I don't want to pin these two that built the house. They, you know, in my research, they were metal workers. They seemed like good Irish. There's never any complaints, never anything that happened with the law that I can see. So I don't want to pin them as murderers, you know, because it's a story, you know. But for some reason, this story has been passed along, and all the local town people know it. It's like legendary, you know, like this is like a legendary story of the house, like folklore. So it's, you know, I will talk about it, but I do want to make sure that people know that there's no proof, and I don't want to, you know, get anybody in the afterworld pissed off at me for painting somebody what they weren't. So
don't blame you. We got about 45 seconds left. Do you have to deal with a lot of hooligans and maybe young teenagers going there looking to get freaked out, breaking in? Do you have to worry about that?
I did at the beginning. It was a problem. You know, that I'd pick something, and then I'd come there, and the door would be broken down, and it would, you know, I'd have to fix it again. You know, as far as ruining pictures or painting weird pentagrams with mustard on the floor, just, you know, stupid little teenage things. But since the house has become such a local legend, you know, a lot of local people will check in on it when we're not there. You know, I have two of the neighbors down the hill will be there in a heartbeat. We have been able to install cameras there now, and we've also been able to run iron jail doors on the outside of the doors and windows to prevent break-ins. So since we've done that, we haven't really had any issues. Do people go up there and walk around the property? Yes. And I don't think that there's really anything I can do to stop it. But as long as they're not being destructive, I'm fine with it. You know, it's cool. I mean, it's really cool too, because a lot of people actually call and ask if they can do that now.
Nice.
So I like that. Mm-hmm.
Dan, I'm going to get you to hold on there because we are through 2 hours here on Spaced Out Radio. Daniel Klaes is our guest tonight. Haunted. HinsdaleHouse.com is the website. Check it on out. Hour 3 of SOR is next.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi to everyone listening in on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, and we're on in Reedsport, Oregon, KDUN AM 1030. We are also on digitally on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Jiggamaree. Jiggamaree is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we got a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up daily on the SOR Newswire. For the final time tonight, we introduce Daniel Klaes. He is the owner of the Hinsdale House, a very haunted house in upstate New York that is getting a lot of press these days. Why he bought it, nobody really knows. I don't even think Daniel knows, but hey, he's the owner of a haunted house. And Daniel, welcome back.
Thank you.
Getting a lot of questions in the audience, in the chat rooms, from people asking about technology. Do you have the place wired up with cameras that could be checked 24 hours a day, or audio equipment in case something could be caught?
I do. That was one of my biggest things. One of the biggest things I needed to get done up there. The house has no phone service. The house had no way for me to get any internet service up there at the beginning, and the cost to have satellite, internet was pretty outrageous. For me to be able to stream cameras. Finally, I was able to get a satellite provider that was fairly. I'm not even going to say fairly cheap because it's not cheap, but that could have enough bandwidth for me to actually stream cameras. And I had them install it, and we've had cameras up there for a couple of years now. It was amazing for me because I set up one camera in the living room. It was the first camera I set up. So that's all we could afford is just one camera. And I was streaming it. I had it streamed on Paranormal Warehouse. And we had about 2,000 people in there just watching this camera, and I thought this is what I need because paranormal investigator, you set up these static cameras and you film for 8 hours, and you have 8 hours of footage on 8 different cameras, and you have to go back, and it's a time-taking process. So to be able to have 2,000 eyes on one camera, it was amazing. And I said, this is it. This is what we need. We need people to be able to keep their eyes on it and take snapshots and be able to document and timestamp when things happen. And this camera, we had it streaming for 4 hours. And I had been in the chat room with everybody and we're talking about the house and the location. And I had dozed off on the couch. And I got awoken to my phone being blown up with pictures of a shadow figure coming in through the front door into the kitchen. And I'm like, oh my gosh, holy grail. First day of having this streamed on Paranormal Warehouse and allowing people to get access to the location from all over the world. It was amazing. And it was like, this is, I had to get more cameras. So I have 6 of them there now. I have one on the outside of the house. I have 2 in the living room, 1 in the kitchen, 1 upstairs in the master bedroom, and 1 in the basement. And they're all accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then we stream them a lot online for people as well. I haven't done a lot lately. It's like you said, it's time, producer, having somebody be able to set them up and stream them. But we do try to get them on as much as we can, for people to experience as well. And I think it's great to have other people have access to that.
Do you charge for that?
No, it's not something that we charge for. If people want to make a donation to help with defer the cost, I do have a Patreon page, something like that. But I don't request that. I don't think it's something that we should charge for. It's I just want to I want to have it out there so people can see it.
I get you. I think that's pretty fair. I really do.
Yeah.
Nikki has a couple of questions. Earlier on the show, you mentioned about ley lines. How do they work around your property?
Well, we have a pair that crisscross right where the pond is, where the barn used to be. And that one is actually parallel to the power plant in Pittsburgh. So, if these ley lines are a source of energy, and it's crisscrossing right in the pond, right at the spring-fed pond, that could be an explanation as to the energy source of the property. It could also be an explanation as to the extraterrestrial beings that people see out there as well, if those are used as kind of like a highway for extraterrestrials. It's a theory, but a lot of people have seen them out there. So,
has anybody ever seen extraterrestrials on the land there?
Yeah, I've seen in the sky. I've seen them. I haven't seen them landed there or in person, but I know I've seen something in the sky. After a tour we had, I was out in the back and we were just sitting around the fire, and I looked up, and similar to what I had seen in North Carolina, I saw looked like a small ship come down, stop, and then another one came down. There was two of them this time, and it looked like they kind of did like this little zigzag thing. You could see the tails, and they zoomed off together. Like you see the jets fly next to each other.
Yes,
that's what it seemed like to me. And then you saw like a tail, and it was like zoom, they were gone. It's
interesting.
It's something when you can see the whole sky. Like different than being in a city. When you have that whole open sky to stare up into, it's just like you can see so much more, just even with your bare eyes.
Very true. That's one of the benefits I have of living way up north here is a very big lack of light pollution, so we get to see a lot up here too. In fact, earlier this summer, we actually were standing on top of one of the mountains here, and we actually saw one of the SpaceX rockets flying over, which was really cool.
How cool.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Never seen something like that in my life, and it was completely awesome. Completely awesome. I want to get to Nikki's follow-up question here. She is asking, have you considered if the ground is somehow causing those who died on the property to be trapped on the property?
I have considered that, definitely. Again, until we have some type of confirmation that that's the source of it, I don't know for sure. Like I said, we are going to be doing some ground penetration. We're going to be looking for human bones and graves back in the 1970s. And I even talked to Claire about this. She said her dogs would bring in these bones that could have potentially been human, but she didn't think about that. She said she just tossed them in the garbage. If there was some type of cover-up and dirt from the pond or graves were uncovered and the graves were dumped with dirt on top of them, there's a potential that something could have been overturned, when they dug the pond. So, it's something that, that we're going to be definitely looking into with the cost thing, and we are getting the financing together to do that. And it'll be released for everybody to see. When we do it, it'll all be documented, and damn, if we do find something, holy crap. It's just going to be unbelievable.
No kidding. There's been a lot of television shows who have filmed there over the years. How has their response been to finding evidence and broadcasting it? Have you noticed a lot of honesty there? Have you noticed a lot of entertainment, if we could put it politely that way?
Well, the shows that are entertaining, I have turned down. So the only shows that I've actually let film there was Paranormal Lockdown with Nick and Katrina. That Discovery Network did a documentary called A Haunting that told the story of the failed exorcism of the house, which was fine. And then the Travel Channel came and filmed America's Most Terrifying Locations there, which allowed me to talk about more of what was happening there in the history, which I was okay as well. But, with Nick Groff, getting to know him and getting to know his style, I was there the whole time. When he approached me, he didn't approach me as Nick Groff. He approached me as his cousin reached out to me. He didn't want to raise flags, and he didn't want me to get all excited because it was him. He had his cousin reach out to me. Speaking to his cousin knew more about the house than I did at that point. I had just purchased it. So it was definitely something I wanted to bring in. They wanted to film a new show. They knew more about the house than I did. Their research was phenomenal. They cared about the story. They cared about the history. And it was great having him there. I've been involved with 2 of his shootings. I also did the Statler Hotel in downtown Buffalo. He invited me on to investigate with them there. And I like his style. I think that he cares about the actual field, and that he cares about the story and not fluffing it. He's not animated. He doesn't.
Right.
So to me, it's better for me to have the truth about the story out there rather than just having all this crap. I don't want all these fake stories out there, and that's why I'm glad I have the capabilities of being able to pick and choose. I've had other shows reach out to me, and quite frankly, I don't want to turn it into a carnival, because it's not a carnival.
Well, there is that risk, though. And it may not sound like much, but I mean, all of a sudden it gets on TV, and all of a sudden, you got to have security there all the time just to make sure that nobody's roughhousing it or breaking in to do investigations, or even though you've already dealt with that on a smaller scale in the past.
Yeah, that definitely is a concern. But I do have people there during the day. People that work on, every day I have a different person there, either mowing the lawn, working on a project. Something's going on there where there's not going to be, where people can't just go there and roughhouse. And also the sheriff's department has access to my cameras. So if something were to happen, they would be there in a heartbeat as well. It's actually quite amazing because the town of Hinsdale, and the county, Cattaraugus County, has really embraced the location. They've had me come in and talk to the board. They've helped out. They paved the whole road up the mountain because of the tourism. It brings in. They've put up signs. They've done whatever they can do to help promote the location. There's a thing called the Haunted History Trail of New York State, and there's little pamphlets on on the side roads promoting it. And it's nice for a change to see a community embracing a haunted location as opposed to, bad-mouthing it and thinking it's bringing in negative. I really take pride in trying to make sure that it's not a crap show up there. I don't let more than a certain amount of people up there at any given time. I'm not interested in holding a parafest. I'm not interested in having, hundreds of people out there. It's a small, intimate. You have to be careful, but it brings in people for sure to the community.
I know exactly what you're talking about because with the haunted tour that I run, last year it got around unceremoniously that the museum where I'm at was packed with demons. And there was this rumor going around, and our tour numbers went right down the tube. and we ended up finding out who was doing it. Unfortunately, it also included one of my tour guides who had had a pretty bad experience there, and I only found that out because the way she was talking to a number of our guests who were coming in, she wasn't making the tour very much fun for them by going over all this evil demonic stuff that she was talking about. And it ended up that we actually, on the museum property, caught one of the preachers from local church going around to every building blessing it with his deacons because of the demons that were being conjured due to the paranormal investigations that were happening. And we were tampering with the devil and everything like that. And once that got died down, finally, it took months. This year we've been putting record numbers in through there, but it really goes to show that you have to be careful with what is said and what is done, and you have to be able to explain things on a proper manner, not just let people allow their imaginations to run wild.
Yeah, and it's important to me. I ask for feedback. I mean, I literally ask for feedback from teams. Whether it's positive or negative, the only way that you can improve something is to there's negative feedback here and there. And there hasn't been too many circumstances of negative feedback. Maybe more at the beginning than so now, because you always try to tweak things and make things better. But as far as the information that we're giving out to people, any of the tour guides that I have going there, we're all on the same page. There hasn't really been a situation where I've had complaints about that. I have seven different teams and folks that will help with tours and guides and stuff like that, daytime tours. I even have a gentleman that was there during the exorcism. His name's Paul Kenyon, and he'll help out. He comes in on a first-hand basis, being there during the exorcisms, and he actually moved away and came back because he said the house was calling to him, and he sometimes will call me up and say, Dan, do you mind if we go up to the house tonight? The house is calling me. And he goes up there, and he'll just sit there and with his friend and see what happens. He's a big skeptic, but he can't say what happened, how or why it happened. He doesn't really put a pinpoint as to what it was. But it's cool to have him being one of the only eyewitnesses alive still to that, what happened back in the 1970s.
Do you have any concern that there could be a flare-up of activity if, say, the wrong people investigate or the wrong people come on in to stir up or conjure up the evil, or, if we can use the term loosely, demonic forces that may be at play there?
I guess there's always that concern. All I can say is that anybody that books will speak to me. It's not going through anybody else but me. I talk to you. I tell you what the situation is, and I kind of feel the people out. Whether I'm going to have somebody there with them or not. It's not always just here's the keys, go investigate and do what you want to do. And then secondly, I have cameras on. The cameras don't go off when you're investigating there, and they have to sign a waiver knowing that those cameras are there. So if they're doing something crazy or stupid there, I'm going to find out. And I'm going to send somebody down there right away to put a kibosh on it, because I'm not having all that crap happening at the house. I honestly, I can't say that I've ever had an experience where the teams haven't been respectful to my wishes, and there hasn't really been a situation where we've had something like that happen in the 4+ years I've owned it. So, it's pretty good record.
We only have about 3.5 minutes left with you tonight, and I want to say a big thanks. Do me a favor. If you could take a couple minutes here to promote the Hinsdale House, promote your tours, promote your books, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, so thank you for that. If anybody wants to find out more on me or the books that I own or I wrote, you can just go to my website, danielklaes.com, It's DANIELKLAES.com. That will give you also links to my ghost hunting team, to the Hinsdale House, to another location that we're restoring right now called the Wildwood Sanitarium. And if there's any key link to, like, if you want to get a T-shirt or something to help support the location with its cost and stuff like that, we have a link for that there as well. I will be, I have so many events coming up. I'll be up in Michigan this weekend, the Upper Peninsula at the Michigan Paracon. Looking excited for that one. The following week, we're going to be doing a camp out on the property. We're bringing in MUFON. We're bringing in the Center for the Cryptozoology, and of course, me and my team will be there. And we're going to be having a weekend of the paranormal, and everybody's camping on the outside, and then we're using a house for research during that weekend. The following weekend, I'll be at CryptidCon in Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, talking about the house. So it's just, if you're interested in meeting up with me or talk with me, I go back and forth, West Coast, East Coast all year long, and in almost every state. So just keep an eye on my events section there, and hopefully come out and meet me at an event. That'd be cool. We could talk. If not, you can come out, plan a trip out, give me a call.
Or just, you and Tenny hop in a VW van and head up to British Columbia right before the winter starts and have some fun up here.
You know what? I'm going to talk to him this week, and I had a cancellation at the end of October. So maybe, if he's available, we can talk about that. That would be awesome.
Dress warm. Starts to get cold at that point.
I need to do something for my wife. I'm going to be in the doghouse, so a trip to British Columbia would be good.
Well, the door is open if you want, my friend. It is always open because up here we got a lot of hauntings. We got a lot of Bigfoot. We got a lot of UFOs. One of the most haunted dolls in Mandy, hanging on out just north of me a couple hours. Museum will allow all of us in there. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, no, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and really describe this. And I'll ask you one final question before we have to say goodnight to you. And we got about a minute here. Do you recommend people to go out and buy haunted homes like you did?
If their heart's in it and their heart is in the right place, yes. I would love for somebody to be able to preserve history, especially if there's a story attached to it. Haunted locations that have really good stories are very few and far and beyond. So to be able to hit a deep history on a location and somebody saving it, that would be great. But again, as long as their heart's in the right spot, doing it for the wrong reasons is going to get you negative effects. So it's like karma. You get what you put into it. So it's like I said, do it if you think that's the thing you want to do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What a pleasure to get to chat with you for the first time. Good luck with your haunted house at the Hinsdale House in northern New York.
Southern
Buffalo
Europe.
Sabres fan. Oh, Buffalo Sabres fan. As a Canucks fan, I'm offended. I'm offended as a Canucks fan. Hey, coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire, the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining in with us. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire that she updates daily for you. Speaking of the Newswire, let's get to it, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, those head scratchers you may have missed throughout your day. We're going to start off with a really good news story here. Rich Giordano from Goof On Radio will be live on Saturday night. We're getting everything set up for his debut on Spaced Out Saturdays. We are in the process of talking with a couple of people for the Sunday show, just to keep you updated. And we think we've got the choice. We just got to figure out if the technology is going to work on his end. So, Rich Giordano, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, Saturday at spacedoutradio.com. We're proud to have Rich as part of the SOR family. He's a good friend of this show's, and I think you're really, really going to enjoy his brand of entertainment on the weekend. So, give it a try. spacedoutradio.com. All right. Don't laugh at this one. No giggle factor here. Residents of a Newfoundland and Labrador town with a famously suggestive name are petitioning to stop a sex toy company from using their sign for advertisements. The town of Dildo was gifted a Hollywood sign last week by late-night TV show host Jimmy Kimmel, who jokingly ran for mayor of the town, and adult toy company Our Pleasure posted a video to Facebook showing off some of its products in front of the sign and other local landmarks on the weekend. Andrew Petty, a member of Dildo's local service district committee, said despite the town's name, residents were not pleased to find out their town was being used to sell sex toys. "We don't think it's very appropriate at all," Petty said. "A lot of people are upset about it. They're vibrating over their anger." I threw that one in. If they had any just casually mentioned the name on their site and didn't go with that extreme, we wouldn't have had a problem, he said. But they went too far with this. That's not what the town is all about. Oh, come on. Your name is a sexual toy. Everybody wants to live there. Pretty said some residents have tried reaching out to Our Pleasure, but their concerns were dismissed. He said people are particularly upset that the company was taking photos of sex toys outdoors in daylight hours. Oh, my goodness. They had one picture right next to the playground. It's not right, he said. I think about the children. There's no need for an 8-year-old seeing Our Pleasure going around with sex toys in the community. No, not when they live in a town called Dildo. Kathy Daniels, owner of Our Pleasure, said the company was careful to make sure no one was around when the photos were taken. She says, in our industry, we are very sex positive, but still, it is still a very taboo topic to talk about it. So for us, for Dildo to be in the media, although they were talking about the community, they were also talking about the object. Pretty says a petition calling on Our Pleasure to not use the photos of the town for its advertising and social media campaigns already has 5 pages of signatures. We really hope the petition will make a difference. Yeah. All right. Sticking with the sexy. A security flaw on a popular hentai porn site has exposed the emails of more than 1 million users, allowing potential hackers to track down real-world individuals with a penchant for cartoon smut. Researchers at digital firm VPN Mentor used a flaw in the system to gain access to nearly 1.2 million user accounts registered on adult websites Luscious. The site allows people to upload and share hentai, porn based on Japanese-style anime and manga, and is one of the most popular haunts for those into that kind of kink. The registered users, even though they are registering their email addresses, are supposed to remain anonymous. This data breach compromises this anonymity by allowing hackers to view users' personal information, including their emails, the company wrote. Although no passwords were obtained, researchers managed to see users' locations and track down all of their activity on the site, including what they uploaded and commented on. Only around 20% of the people use fake emails when logging on to view it, and many users join Luscious using official government emails, the company said. All of this makes the consequences of a potential hack more damaging, as cyber criminals often use sensitive private information for extortion. Ooh, that's scary. Watch your porn. Watch where you're using it. Watch your emails. And don't put your company or government email on there. Come on. It's terrible. Be smarter than that. Anyways, a Florida man who feared his cat had been eaten by coyotes was reunited with the feline 3.5 years later thanks to a stranger, a microchip, and an animal hospital. Miguel Tolado Quiles, 31 years old, said he and his cats, Lola and Mr. Kitty, were staying with his parents in Gainesville while he studied for a bar exam in 2016. One day, one of the felines managed to escape through a back door. Mr. Kitty was captured by a neighbor for a few weeks after the escape, but there was no sign of Lola after months of searching. I honestly thought she was eaten by coyotes, he said. Yeah, coyotes. Miguel changed his theory, though, however, when he received a call from the Newberry Animal Hospital. Staff told him a woman who lives about 18 miles from Gainesville brought in a cat that she had been feeding for about 3 years. The cat's microchip identified her as Lola. Miguel's mother picked up Lola from the Newberry Clinic on Friday. He said Lola and Mr. Kitty will soon be reunited. They've never spent more than 2 weeks apart. I'm not sure what the reunion will be like. A Massachusetts woman was recently reunited with her cat about 5.5 years after the feline went missing. Eleanor Rapucci said she let Larry the cat out into her Essex backyard in July 2013. As soon as she discovered the feline had left the yard and apparently wandered away, officials with the Merrimack River Feline Rescue Society said a man feeding birds in Salisbury, about 20 miles from her home, found the cat, brought him into the shelter about 5.5 years later. Rapucci said Larry was in good health and quickly reacclimated to life at home. All right. Canada goes to election this October, and the issue of climate change really could divide the parties. Yeah. Climate change has led Elections Canada to warn groups that running paid advertisements about climate change could be considered partisan activity. Advocates call the guidance ludicrous, saying it will dampen urgent climate discussions. The UN has called for decisive political action by 2020 to put an end to climate change. The guidance is extremely troubling, Stephen Cornish, the CEO of the David Suzuki Foundation, said. We would be we would have to bury the scientific consensus around climate change when we should be ramping up our activities. So what are the rules? Canada has strict regulations on partisan advertising during the election period, which is only 12 weeks, by the way, not like 2 years down south. Yeah, so whether they be from candidates, parties, or third-party organizations, you got to be careful. Individuals or organizations that take out issue advertisements that cost $500 or more during the election period have to register with Election Canada as a third party. Issue advertisements are paid media campaigns that take positions on issues related to the party's platforms but do not explicitly address a particular candidate or party. The election period will begin when the writ is dropped sometime in September before Canadians head to the polls on the 21st of October. Imagine saving all that money with a timed election period. It almost makes sense, doesn't it? Almost makes sense. Tourists can now take a trip to Mars and stay inside a cave designed to mimic the Martian surface in northern Spain. It's going to cost you a lot less, a few million to get to Mars, only 5,500 pounds for the 3-night stay in the cave. Yeah, TripAdvisor is offering thrill seekers an expedition to experience life on Mars deep in the caves of northern Spain. Devised by agency Astroland, the adventure involves spending 3 days and nights in the confines of Ares Station, a 196-foot high, 0.93-mile-long cave that is situated deep in the Cantabrian Mountains. There, the cave's aim is to accurately replicate the hostile conditions of Mars and is isolated from human contact. The first mission, as they put in quotes, has already taken place by a test crew, but now the agency is opening its doors to paying guests with 5 expeditions held over the coming months. This actually looks pretty cool. They give you a spacesuit and everything. The experience will last 30 days, including a comprehensive 3-week online training program, another 3 days of physical and psychological training at the Astroland facilities. The 3-night trip costs 5,500 pounds. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is one of the most exciting parts of travel, and for even the most adventurous, Astroland truly delivers, commented Laura Graytrix of TripAdvisor. It's a remarkable experience, and we're excited to be offering it. David Sabalos, CEO of Astroland, said he was thrilled to be able to contribute to this important space research. Investing in space technology is investing in innovation, he said. This project was born with the objective of testing replicable technologies on Earth and has already happened with other products of daily use derived from space research, such as GPS or different medical application technologies. Yeah, go live in a cave for 3 months. Not me. In Airdrie, Alberta, last week, 7-year-old Duncan was visiting with family from Nova Scotia when he lost his backpack. Unfortunately, his favorite teddy bear was inside. Yeah, this one kind of hurt. The bear contained a recorded message from Duncan's mother, who had passed away. His family wasn't able to find the backpack or the bear at any of the locations they visited on their trip before flying home. A plea was sent out on Facebook. Thankfully, it went viral, with thousands sharing the post in a matter of hours. Well, the good news, on Monday, Airdrie artist Heidi Erickson was passing through Nose Creek Park when she saw the backpack hanging on a post. To her delight, she noticed the bear was inside and posted the good news to her Facebook page. So the little boy now gets to hear his mommy once again. That's a good story. Gave me chills. Jogger Todd Beavers was running through a neighborhood and came upon an empty house with a load of disposable junk out front. He stopped to check out the pile of trash, which also was being inspected by a Florida man. Oh, you know where this is going. Beavers spied a plastic dump cart and decided to take it. His interest in the cart angered Florida man, who believed the cart was his because he was there first. The two men had a verbal disagreement, and Beavers finally just took the cart and was on his way. Didn't take him long, though, to notice that he was being followed by Florida man, who then pulled out a sword. Yeah, from his red sheath and approached beavers. Florida man slashed wildly at beaver's arm as they struggled over who was going to have the cart. When beavers motioned towards a home camera system, Florida man left. The sheriff's office has stated an unidentified woman came to Beaver's property a few minutes later and dragged the cart away while hurling insults at him. Detectives think the woman and Florida man know each other. Beavers has stated he regrets his behavior and realizes he was very lucky to come out of that experience with no injuries, or even worse. Police are looking for Florida man now and the unidentified woman who dragged the cart away. And finally, be careful of the kinkajou. Wildlife officials in Florida say a kinkajou, a South American animal similar to a raccoon, broke into a home and attacked a man. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission said the Lake Worth Beach man told investigators he had been given the unusual animal a piece of watermelon outside his home, and it returned the next morning and entered his house. The man said the kinkajou bit and scratched him before he was able to lock it in a bathroom. The man was not seriously injured, no rabies at all. The animal was taken to a licensed facility by investigators. Well, I don't even know if they handcuffed it. They may have. While they attempted to determine its origins, investigators suspect it is an escaped or abandoned pet. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because you know us around here. We love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Tell me a cool experience you had with a ghost. Goddess Michelle. I had one making faces at someone being rude to me. It made me very difficult to keep a straight face. K28. I saw the ghost of a little girl floating horizontally face down above my wife in bed while she was sleeping. I could see the ghost girl's robe flowing as if it was in a breeze. I got out of bed and walked around it. It did not notice me as I got up close to it. It was translucent white. Chip. One time a ghost and I skipped 7th period. We went and smoked some cigarettes. Somehow I don't think that's one's really real. Robin. When I was on the USS Turner Joy, I was with a group of people. I decided to try an experiment by laying into one of the beds. I had a flashlight with me. I asked if you want me out of your bed, use the flashlight for yes, and then all of a sudden it started flashing really fast. So we got out. Joe, my wife and I were investigating a historic coquina? Is that the word? Coquina quarry in St. Augustine, Florida. Suddenly, a weird feeling came over both of us. Later, EVP review revealed the sound of an oxen-pulled wagon increasing in sound and decreasing in sound as it went by our location. Historical validation. David, me and my homie Casper, see, we went to this bar and... Oh, you're bad, David. You're bad. Taro, one night I was working overnight doing the ice at a hockey rink. As it gotten down low, I was listening to tunes. I had my iPod on and driving in circles in the Zamboni. When what appeared? Some idiot ghost in a Leaf jersey or Gary Lehman looking for a place to sleep one off. Anywho, I ran it over. That is awesome. Gary Lehman scores 50 goals in 1 year and then, just went in the tube from there. Much like Jimmy Carson back in the day. Graham, in 2006, I was camping and I was collecting some firewood from the bush, which a white and black imaged ghost, wraith, form. Let me read that again. There should have been some commas in there. In 2006, I was camping and I was collecting some firewood from the bush, of which a black and white image ghost, wraith, form charged me. And here in New Zealand, they are called Maori, a tribal warrior race here in this country. I was amazed as he ran through me as I stood there. Oh, that is weird, Graham. Very weird. By the way, how's tomorrow looking for us? Could you let us know? Do we survive here on the West Coast tomorrow? Let us know. All right, let's get over to Facebook, shall we? Susan, my first experience, a ghost picked out a book for me to read at the library. Well, that's kind of cool. Barry, I was attacked by an apparition back in 1970 while investigating a case in Inglewood. Terry Ann, I was 7 years old, and I had a very upsetting dream that my grandmother passed away from a nosebleed. I told my mother, and 4 days later after the dream, it happened. He passed, or my grandfather, that is, passed away. And that night he came to visit me and sat at the end of my bed. That was my first experience I ever had. Gabe, I heard some drumming from my apartment. I took a nature trail to get to work. When I approached the sound of the drumming, I was scared as anything. I manned up and experienced one of the best paranormal experiences I have ever had. It was a soldier, or at least it appeared to be. He set down his drum, stood up. I said hi to him. He nodded without a sound. I am almost 100% sure this was a ghost. Nobody wears these kind of clothes anymore. I walked away, and he started drumming again. That's a great way to end the thought of the day. So we will do it all again tomorrow on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully you can play along and we can read yours on the air. Also, want to say a big thanks to Captain Shirk for putting our news together. The SOR Newswire can be found and updated daily at spacedoutradio.com. So we appreciate the captain for doing that. Also, big thank you to Daniel Klaes for coming on the show tonight to talk about, yes, the historically haunted Hinsdale House in upstate New York. So make sure you check that out. Maybe catch one of his tours if you're in the area near Buffalo as well. What a good time that would be. Oh, I still don't know if I would own a haunted house or not. Heck, my house is haunted. What am I saying? There we go. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everyone listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, Revolution Radio. We are also on the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook and at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter, wherever you may be. Thank you for listening. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Hey, thank you, each and every one of you, for sharing your evening with us. Because together, my friends, say it with me, shall we?
We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night, everybody.